Welcome to Bury Your Babes. I'm your host, Vale Chicone, and yes, we have this was the one that I wanted to do the other day, but guys, Allie Beth Stuckey has joined in the conversation. So we have to do Allie, okay? So we are going to see what other topics we can incorporate because there's just a lot that is actually going on right now, okay? So we actually have Ali over here. Hold on, guys. This is not a good start, okay? But I'm glad that you are here. Let's just get right into it. As you know, Lady Candace is out here now. Allie Beth Stuckey is responding, okay? So we're going to get into it. I do welcome you. I'm so glad that you're here. All right, so let's just get right into it, okay? So this is Lady Candace. I'm telling you, this is never going to end, okay? But she's responding to Ali and the whole shenanigan that has been going on. But Ali did a good program, so we'll get into it as well. Okay, so let's take a look at Candace real quick.
Immediate aftermath of Charlie's death, she said, "It's wild that Candace is the only right-wing figure that I've seen posting in a way where she seems genuinely devastated to have lost Charlie as a friend." Why did she tweet that? Well, I have an answer for that now, Taylor, now that I'm seeing straight, because it's becoming very clear to me that Charlie was a product to everybody else. He was not a human being. He was a product that they felt that they had manufactured. That is my honest opinion, and I am entitled to that opinion, okay? And not only did they think that they had manufactured him, they felt that he was now malfunctioning. He was malfunctioning. And we're not going to let this go. We are not going to stop speaking about this topic because I sense that we are getting very close because they are very angry. And we should recap very quickly the verifiable lies that we have thus far been told by Turning Point USA themselves, which apparently they're trying to say it's off limits. So now you can't call out all these lies that Turning Point USA has told you. This is what they're trying to struggle session us into because Erica Kirk is now the CEO. So they're off limits. So they're allowed to lie. No, that's ridiculous.
All right. So they that is ridiculous. Okay. That's according to Candace. But finally, Allie Beth Stuckey is addressing this issue. So it's going to be very interesting. So that is Candace Owens, okay? Megyn Kelly came out to defend her, saying that she did not, because Ben Shapiro had said Candace Owens is accusing Erica Kirk of having something to do with what happened to Charlie, which is exactly what happened. So everybody's wondering where Megyn Kelly has been at. So you can see at every turn, she's always implicating everybody, the entire Turning Point USA. And we do know that Erica Kirk is the CEO of Turning Point USA. So how can you accuse Turning Point USA without implicating Erica Kirk? You tell me. If that is not all, we have Candace Owens over here keep saying that she's inching closer and closer to the truth. The question is, when will that truth come to bear? Because she's been singing this song for quite some time. So Ali decided to get into it as well, okay? So let's go to Allie Beth Stuckey. We're going to hear how she's analyzing this, okay? So here is Allie Beth Stuckey. All right, I'll be stopping it along the way, okay? Bring your comments. We're going to feature them because this rabbit hole. Don't get lost in it, okay? All right, so here's Allie.
What does it mean to investigate? What is truth seeking? And what is the significance of our words? I want to explore these questions and other questions that I have from a biblical perspective in light of the Candace Owens YouTube series on Charlie Kirk. Now, there are a couple perspectives on her YouTube series. Her supporters say that she's just asking questions, that they're just asking questions, and they will say that Candace is really the only one who wants to know what happened to Charlie and is doing the investigation that others won't. Everyone else, their thinking goes, is just accepting the narrative fed to us by the FBI. Or worse, they say they might be in on a conspiracy to murder Charlie Kirk. And her supporters view her as a ride or die friend who will stop at nothing to bring the truth to light and to seek justice. The other perspective from her detractors is that she's spinning conspiracy theories, that she is implicating the wrong people, that she's ginning up intrigue for lucrative clicks and views, that she's perpetuating dangerous narratives about the Jews. And before I give you my take on my perspective of her YouTube series, let me answer this question that I have heard her ask and that I have seen some of her audience ask. Why would I wade into this at all? Well, I can tell you first that there's no incentive to comment on anything that Candace does or says. One way or another, you're going to make people angry if you do, possibly including Candace herself. And anyone who has ever gotten in Candace's crosshairs knows that if you do or say something that she perceives as subverting her, she will retaliate with 10 times the force that you approached her. And that retaliation may involve attempts at character assassination. And she's got an army of very loyal followers who feel very emboldened to amplify her messages on social media. So there is much well-founded hesitation, I would say, and in some cases, fear that some people have.
Yes. So what she's saying there is true, to be quite honest, if you can just look at the landscape, which I do suspect in terms of Megyn Kelly. Because you cannot tell me that Megyn Kelly is not aware of what Candace Owens is doing, all this false accusation. But she knows. If she dares to call out Candace Owens in any way, shape, or form, she's going to be next. Okay? She's going to be next. So these people are just like, okay, you actually know. And the next person we have is Officer Tatum, right? Officer Tatum has been on this issue from the beginning, calling out Tucker Carlson, calling out everybody else, but Candace Owens. And he was asked, why are you not calling out Candace Owens? And his thing was like, oh, you know what? Candace Owens is my sister. I won't even have this conversation with Candace Owens privately. So I don't understand why that is their position. Because if you are engaging, talking about this issue, and you decide to talk about everybody else, but you're leaving Candace Owens, you look suspect. Okay, so the idea is not to disparage Candace Owens in any shape or form. Is just to deal with the things that she's saying, to deal with what she's putting out. That's it, and you measure that according to truth. That's not you coming against Candace Owens, her personal life, so to speak, right? For some reason, Megyn Kelly and Officer Tatum, they don't even know the difference. So as a result, they look like hypocrites. They absolutely look like hypocrites. So what Allie Beth Stuckey is saying here, she is speaking the truth, okay? So it's like these people, they know Candace Owens, so they choose not to address the issue. Then they just gonna pretend like they didn't see or they didn't, like it didn't happen. But that's not how it works. Because it looks like Allie Beth Stuckey's audience have been coming after her. When are you going to say something? When are you going to comment? When are you going to comment? Then we already did a video where she was so frustrated. So now I guess she realized it's time to address the elephant in the room. So let's see what she says. Here we go, guys.
People don't want to disagree with Candace publicly or push back against her at all. She's got that massive audience. She has a lot of power, the #1 podcast in the world as of last week, which doesn't surprise me at all. She is incredibly talented. She's got so much influence, probably more than anyone in right-wing media. And, she talks a lot about this kind of David versus Goliath dynamic on her podcast. But the truth is that Candace is a giant. And so I am talking about this for the same reason that I talk about anything, certainly not because there is an incentive. I feel no pressure to do so. I feel a responsibility to give my audience, my listeners and viewers that God has entrusted to me, the same thing that I always try to give you, and that is clarity and courage to help you think logically and biblically about the things that matter. And the truth is, for weeks, my inbox has been filled with messages from so many of you asking what I think about this or that thing that Candace has posited on her show. And I did do an episode a few weeks ago on the question of Israel's involvement in Charlie's murder, and you should go watch that.
Okay, I need to be stopping it every now and then because you know how it is on this platform, okay? So, everything what Ali is saying here, yes and amen, okay? However, this is my position. Candace Owens has been talking about this Charlie situation. It's been quite some time, okay? We are in November right now. So we are talking about the entire month of October, okay? Candace was on this issue, as well as September, okay? So it's not that Ali did not see that or did not hear that. So she saw that and she heard it, okay? But she just didn't want to get involved with it. And she has already told us the reasons why, okay? That's number one. And number two, Ali did a program where she was talking about, how for you to determine something is a conspiracy, something is true, something other. Everything she said there was absolutely correct. However, she said about everything else, everybody and their mama, including Steve Wonder, could see that Allie Beth Stuckey is talking about Candace Owens. But she never mentioned Candace Owens' name. There was the problem, okay? And that was even after some time where, all these things were going on. I guess she just decided, okay, I don't want to talk about it. That's fine if that's what she wants, if she doesn't want to talk about it. But you have to remember, if you are online, right, and you have this platform and you do commentary and everything else, if something happens, if you don't talk about it, it's not that people don't notice that you haven't said anything about it. People, they do see, they can draw their own conclusions, okay? But if you have a platform and you have an audience and the audience are asking you questions, you have an obligation to your audience, okay? To tell them where you stand and to tell them the truth. That's just how things work. So the idea of Allie to have waited this long, the idea of Allie to have thought like, she can weather the storm, that wasn't going to work from the get-go, okay? She's a smart girl and she has discernment. I don't understand how she thought she could just get away with not discussing Candace Owens. The same thing that Megyn Kelly is doing it, now she's receiving backlash. The same thing that Tucker Carlson did, having Nick Fuentes on, thinking you can just have Nick Fuentes give him a softball, expecting that people are not going to put your feet to the fire, especially you as a journalist. That's just not how things work. Okay? That's just not how things work. So now Allie is going to have this discussion, okay? And we're going to listen to it. But remember, Candace Owens, she's a Catholic. Allie Beth Stuckey considers Candace Owens as her friend, and Allie has platformed Candace Owens on her podcast, okay? So this is the problem that I do see when it comes to evangelicals. They get so excited to be associated with every Jim and Jack. And because you want the tent to be big. So once you get the tent to be big, everybody comes in this conservative world, it makes you compromise and be announced to you. Okay? There's nothing wrong with Allie being friends with Candace Owens. But once you start having Candace Owens on your platform, she's out there parading these Catholic things, which is a contradiction to what Allie Beth Stuckey believes out here. What's his name? Knows as your brother. You bring confusion to your very audience that you're trying to bring to the truth. And not to mention Lyra Rose, right? These are sweet people, by the way. But the doctrine that they believe in and the things they bring on her podcast just brings confusion. So Allie did not want to talk about Candace Owens because, quote unquote, Candace Owens is her friend. If that was anybody else, trust and believe, she would have already done that. That's why, if you have a platform, not all your friends are supposed to be on your platform. It doesn't negate your friendship. If we didn't know Allie Beth Stuckey and Candace Owens were not friends, we'd just be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to talk about it. She's not friends with Candace Owens. Whatever the case may be is what I'm trying to say here. So let's hear how all this came about as far as Allie Beth Stuckey is concerned. Let me know, you guys, if you get the point to what I'm saying over here, okay? You don't have to agree with me, but this is what I've analyzed about this issue, okay? All right, welcome. I am so glad that you guys are here. Good to see you, okay? So, yes. I mean, Candace Owens right now, she's burning bridges and creating enemies left and right, okay? Oh, yes. Candace Owens did attack. Candace Owens did attack Allie Beth Stuckey for sure. But Allie, I'll come to that issue shortly, okay? Because that is very interesting. All right. So let's get back to her and hear some more, okay? Here we go, guys.
There have been a couple times that I have encouraged you very clearly, do not outsource your critical thinking to anyone. Don't outsource it to me. Don't outsource it to Candace. Don't outsource it to the media, to the government, not to any influencer or influence. I want you to use the mind that God gave you to ask good questions and to seek the truth. And last week was another one of those times that I offered that encouragement on Instagram. And I'll kind of back up and give you some context of why I gave that encouragement last week. Candace claimed on her show that the UVU campus stop where Charlie was murdered was booked too close to the event date to be legitimate. And she said, I'm paraphrasing, something sketchy there. It seemed to her, and she cited her experience with Turning Point's campus tours, where she says that stops were planned months in advance. And I, without saying Candace's name, gave a counterexample of that on Instagram and X, showing that Charlie had invited me at the end of August to speak on November 3rd of this year, so about 2 months in advance, but he couldn't yet confirm the venue because it wasn't confirmed. There were 2 options that he gave. He didn't know which campus in Alabama we would be at yet, and that was just about 8 weeks before. And I've done campus stops with Turning Point in the past, both with Charlie and not with Charlie, and I can tell you that in those cases, things were very often put together extremely last minute. But Candace had said that the quick timeline of the UVU booking points to her belief in the possibility that Turning Point is lying and engaged in some kind of cover-up. She said, quote, "It reeks of an inside job." Quote, "Turning Point USA is involved." She also said, quote, "Every day that goes on, it feels like Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up." So my point was that in my own experience, the timeline is not necessarily unusual. And therefore, I don't believe that it points to anything nefarious. And then last week, in the midst of that, I posted an Instagram story passionately urging you to think critically and to ask questions, even of the question askers. I did not attack Candace. I didn't say her name. But then she responded to those things directly. She responded on X. She responded on her show. I reached out privately.
So that was the mistake that Allie Beth Stuckey made. She was talking about Candace Owens, but she thought she can just talk about it without, mentioning her name, right? And everybody knew Allie's talking about Candace Owens. And Candace Owens herself knew that Allie Beth Stuckey was talking about her. Okay? So Allie did not put her name in there, but that did not even help matters. Okay? So because Allie considers Candace Owens as her friend, what Allie should have done prior to all that, or she could have easily done this, was contact Candace Owens, okay, prior to all this, like, "Candace, I have an obligation to my audience. I have noticed that you are talking about XYZ, okay? So I want you to be aware I'll be addressing this issue." That's it. That's all you have to do. So whether she agrees with you or not, it's besides the point. Because Allie, she's out here wanting to bring truth and to be able to help her audience. You see what I'm saying? That's all you have to do. Allie's not out here talking about Candace Owens' personal life or anything else. She is just addressing the things that Candace Owens has said publicly, which is a fair game. You see what I mean? So to me, I'm a believer. If somebody is your friend, you don't have just to go rush to do a video about that friend, okay? Talk to them and just let them know, you know what? I have an obligation to my audience. Even if the shoes were reversed, I would also expect you to do the same thing, okay? So this is, you know what I mean? I'm going to have this discussion. End of the story. That's it. So in this situation, so it was like, because what she already told us, right? So Candace Owens and friends, they operate in a situation whereby you don't say anything about Candace Owens, she's not going to say anything about you. You say something about her, she's going to come after you and 10 times. Okay? So the ones who've chosen not to say anything, I'm sure they know the memo. So I guess Allie was just like, you know what? I can't keep quiet anymore. I'm going to bring this out, okay? So in this situation, Allie was the first one who drew blood as far as Candace Owens is concerned. So she opened the gates and Candace Owens was like, okay, Allie, you're next, okay? So she has said more, so we have all that, okay? So let's hear her, and then we'll go to what Candace Owens had to say about all this, okay? Here we go, guys.
She made it clear that she wasn't happy, and I told her I was glad to have a longer off-the-record, totally confidential conversation about her, but that has not happened. And honestly, I wasn't going to say anything else about it. I wasn't going to say anything else about it. But then she said something on her show yesterday that just made me feel like I am responsible to respond. So let me get to that in just a second. Let me pause and tell you about our next sponsor, another pro-life sponsor that I'm...
Okay, so we'll let her do her ad there, okay? So while she's doing that ad, let me take you to the tweet. I don't know. I think it was an Instagram. It looked like a tweet to me, but I think it's an Instagram picture. I don't know, It doesn't matter. What matters is the information that's there. But I thought it was a tweet account, okay? So Ali said, well, I should have brought my glasses, okay? Let's see if this is going to work. Hold on, guys. I can't see anything. All right, what are we doing here? All right, let's do this, okay? I need to get glasses because I can't even see all this. All right. Okay, so this is... Why can't I find a thing? Yeah, no wonder, because I can't see anything. All right. Well, what is this? That includes Charlie CEO. All right, let me get the glasses, okay? Watch this real quick, guys. All right. It's, in the same vein.
Every day that goes on, it feels to me like Turning Point is engaged in a cover-up. And there's no other way to say this. There is no other ways. I don't care who at Turning Point tweets. I literally do not care. I will breathe fire on all of you. I know how these events work. Why was this event confirmed so quickly when it was requested so late? Answer these questions. I need answers to these questions to understand what happened on that day. Because the way that Mikey moves is like he knows where he's going. It's like they know where they're going to meet. And we know that they got to the hospital very quickly because Blake Neff says elsewhere, they got into the hospital within 25 minutes, okay? They knew instantly where the hospital was. They knew which direction to go to, the communication that's flowing. I think Frank said he was on the phone while they were in the car with his family members. Don't quote me on that. So all of this happened. You instantly got to the hospital, which, by the way, the hospital was put on lockdown when Charlie came in, is what we were told. They let Mikey and the Turning Point boys in. Maybe that's true. It sounds like it is true. Obviously, we know that you were there when they came out and said that Charlie had died, according to Blake Neff. And according to Frank Turek's testimony, but a lot of this little stuff is not making sense, okay? It's not making sense. And you cannot tell me that to dispel this rumor, right, by letting people see the call logs, by letting people see the video footage would somehow hurt the case. Because that's the BS they're selling us right now. Like transparency would hurt the case. And like I've said, if transparency would hurt the case, then it's because you don't have a case, okay? If transparency would hurt the case, it's because you don't have a case. And if you're telling me that your phone logs on that day would somehow hurt the case, you are asking me to be an idiot. And I can't be an idiot. I can't pretend that I was born yesterday. You're lying. They're lying about the phone calls. They're lying about the timing of the phone calls. The phone calls don't make sense. Just want to say that. I'm going to chill.
Okay, so, but we do know Erica Kirk came out publicly and said that she received a phone call from Mikey, but Candace thinks that's a lie, that all that stuff is not true. Okay, so there we have with Candace. All right, so this is what she posted out. Okay, let's see right here. All right, Candace. All right, so this is Candace Owens, okay? I will never forgive Zionists. The absolutely appalling and scam of the earth approach of watching a man murdered and then climbing into his body like maggots fighting to lie about who he was. There's no truth in these people. So right now, she is not happy with all the Zionists, okay? And that does include Allie Beth Stuckey, by the way, okay? So she's in all this. So this is what Allie had put out, okay? And we're not going to read all of it because it's too long, okay? It's but just so you get where everything is coming from, okay? So Allie posted this. I wasn't going to respond to Candace publicly, but I was genuinely hurt by her accusation that I don't care about who killed Charlie because I expressed concern for the lives of people who have been implicated in her series on Charlie Kirk's murder. Okay? So that's what Allie posted. However, Allie was posting this after she had done her Instagram video where she was talking about, I've already done those videos as well. You can see there's some shots on my video where she was talking about you better be sure you cannot just come out here say all these things without evidence, right? But she never mentioned Candace Owens' name. So Allie did that. But Candace Owens, and this is what Candace Owens responded to that, okay? So this is what she is saying. Here we go, guys. All right. So this is Candace Owens, okay, responding. This brand of Christianity has to end. Okay, so she's not happy. This brand of Christianity has to end. Everyone saw you make multiple stories, tweets, and videos referencing me for weeks. Your implications were not kind and they were not quote-unquote Christian. Then when I finally responded, you pretend you were some injured bird who had to dig deep into the wells of her faith to find the right scripture to guide her. No, just stop. This is a bad act. So that is Candace Owens, okay? So, to be fair, okay, as far as this issue is concerned, Allie Beth Stuckey was the first one who fired the first, to Candace Owens. It does not matter that Allie did not mention her name. She was talking about Candace Owens. Anybody can see that, and that's just true. So now, because all these things continued, then Allie decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do, right? So for Allie to say that she wasn't going to respond to Candace Owens publicly does not match the information that's publicly available prior to her posting. What's there is Allie never mentioned Candace Owens' name. But guys, we are not children over here. Critical thinking, as she also, says, right? She was talking about Candace Owens, okay? So my point is, she's a sharp woman. She has discernment. You talking about all these things and thinking you not mentioning Candace Owens' name wasn't going to do you any good in any way, shape, or form. Hence, here we are, okay? So let's watch what Allie is saying. And I think she actually did acknowledge that part as well, okay? So this is Allie, okay? So let's continue. I think somebody had a question here. So Candace Owens, did Candace contact Allie before they first mentioned her? Oh, hold on, I'll just pull it up here. Allie Beth Stuckey was the first one who talked about Candace Owens prior to Candace Owens talking about anything about Allie. So Candace Owens is responding to Allie. If Allie didn't say anything about Candace Owens wouldn't have said anything about Allie, okay? The only thing that Candace Owens has said is blaming the Zionist, okay? So anybody who is a Zionist fell in that. In fact, if you're just a Christian, okay, it doesn't matter. Every evangelical, as far as Candace Owens is concerned, you are a Zionist. She does not make any exceptions, okay? So let's hear Allie. She did acknowledge even that part. But to me, I'm like, you know what? Somebody like Candace Owens, you need to deal with her. She's not a person that you can appease, so to speak, okay? And here we are. So let's watch what Allie had to say, okay? Here we go, guys.
Few seeds that will bloom in eternity. And when you support moms and their baby,
you're never saying,
my Instagram story where I just kind of in the midst of this just urged my followers, the people that I am responsible to in many ways, to think critically about all things. Here's that too.
I'm just really tired of some of y'all not thinking. I really am. You say that you're seeking truth and asking questions, but you're actually just outsourcing your critical thinking and your question asking to someone else, and you're never really asking questions. You're never saying, does that make sense? Or what could be the other side of that story? Or what is the alternative explanation for that? Or are these two things actually connected by evidence? Or does it just sound compelling? This is not a Netflix series. It's not an Agatha Christie novel. You're not watching a whodunit movie. These are people's real lives. And if you're implicating a real person in a murder plot, you better be 100% sure that it is true and backed by hard evidence. Think. Turn on your brain. The thoughts we think and the words we say not only affect real people's lives, but they carry weight in eternity. We are responsible for these things. I'm going to take that seriously, but you should too. Look, y'all, I don't even want... I've just been wrestling with this so much over the past few weeks. I don't want the drama. I don't have the time and energy that it takes to go through. To make all of these claims first is incredible, but then to go through and debunk all of these claims, I don't have that time. I don't have that energy. I don't have that capacity. I don't.
Look, Allie, I just think she should take a break. Like, I genuinely didn't even know she was going through it like this. Like, I don't think we asked her for any assistance at all, actually. I did all the work and people sent me stuff, and then we put together a timeline. And here's what I want to say, because you're saying it's real life. It was Charlie's real life, Allie. That was Charlie's real life when you saw him sitting there and he got shot. That was his real life. So I feel like that's the part you're missing, because you're so worried about the surrounding cast of characters who have been literally caught lying. They lied. That's why we're here, okay? We didn't just randomly pluck people up from obscurity, okay? These are people who said, he had blood on him. He's amazing. He was so amazing, but he walked away from Charlie as he was bleeding out. His real life. That was his real life, okay? So that's what's on the line right here, is he's not here anymore. Maybe you're not worried about him, but I am. I'm actually worried, and I want to know what happened to Charlie Kirk, okay?
So I am not, apparently, according to her, worried. I'm not worried about Charlie Kirk. My friend, too, who was shot in the neck, whom you have seen me talk about and reference several times over the past few weeks, and just, what that mentorship meant to me, and to hear the implication there that I don't care. I don't care, she says, about Charlie and about his murder. She cares. Okay. That's what she does. That's how she is. And it just makes me, it really makes me sad. It really makes me sad.
Yeah, so you can see Ali, she's definitely heartbroken. However, if you've been following Candace Owens, she has said that to everybody, okay? She feels like she is the only one who is grieving properly. She's the only one who's trying to do something about Charlie Kirk. Nobody else is doing it right, including Erica, by the way, because she's not making any exceptions, okay? So Candace Owens feels like she's the only one who's doing this. So it's just the narcissism of Candace Owens. To be quite honest, where was Candace Owens at the memorial? Ali has been invited to do events with Turning Point USA. How come they didn't invite Candace Owens, the so-called BFF, right? So, in fact, the messages that Candace Owens keeps bringing up is back in the day, 2018. Nothing recent, but, she's just taking up the airspace. So, people can see, Candace Owens for what she's about. But because Ali and Candace were friends, so this is even hurting more to Ali because it's almost like, oh, you are my friend. How can you say this? So she was correct. When Candace comes for you, she goes, she does too much. Okay? But this is also the issue. Like, yeah, this is the same lady you brought on your platform and everything. You know what I mean? Like this simple discernment, because I shouldn't be in this situation. But for whatever there is on here, we are. Okay? So let's hear a little bit more.
Sad. Candace on her show, she said, she likes me and the feeling has been mutual for years. I had always had very
The feeling has been mutual for years. Ali, are you cutting the corn? All right.
Pleasant interactions with Candace, and that is why thus far I haven't used her name when talking about some of the claims that she's put forth. I actually thought that was a way to help you all think through these things without it seeming like I'm trying to fight with her or attack her, because I wasn't. I still don't want that. But she responded directly to my post, so now I am being more direct as well. And honestly, in hindsight, I probably should have been more direct from the get-go. And I do just want to say that several weeks ago, I had reached out to Candace via Instagram in response to an Instagram message that she had sent me with questions about some of the claims that she was making, and I didn't hear back. And so some people have said, why didn't you reach out? I just want to say that I did. And I've thought a lot about how to do this episode, how to do a response to the.
So, you see, she does have the discernment. She did reach to Candace Owens. Candace Owens is the one who did not reach back to her. You know what I mean? So she did the right things. You reached out to her. She's not returning whatever. You just move forward. You know what I mean? But because she waited this long to respond to Candace Owens is looking, hey, Ali, why are you coming after me now? I've been doing this for the month of October. I've been doing this for the month of September. All of a sudden, you're coming after me now. What's up with that issue? You see what I'm saying? Oh, so which means you've joined in the Zion Club. You know what I mean? Oh, which means I must be getting to the truth. This is how Candace Owens sees these things, okay? Oh, now I must be getting to the truth. So much so that even Ali is being shaken up. Now Ali is coming after me. That's the interpretation that Candace Owens is bringing to her audience, okay? And if you think like Candace Owens, hello, you see what I mean? Because you'll be like, wait a minute, I've been doing this for all this, 6 months. Now you have an issue. How come you didn't have an issue last week, 2 weeks, a month ago, and everything? You see where this is going. But from the get-go, Ali should have set the tone with Candace Owens. Candace Owens would have known where Ali stands on this issue, and Ali wouldn't have, bothered to drag her audience in all this issue. You see what I'm saying? That's how you handle things. Everything she said about right now, what is it that she has said that is disparaging to Candace Owens? There's nothing. Up to now, everything that Ali has said, what is it that's not true? You see what I mean? So I'm glad that she has realized that she should have taken care of this issue sooner. So I appreciate that she does acknowledge that whole front. So there are certain things, according to the scriptures, Paul was doing the same thing, right? Alexander the coppersmith did me so much harm. Okay? That is, you have to be straight to the point as believers. I know, our feelings get in the way. We don't always to do it, right? But the scriptures, we do have a precedent about that. So nobody's going to be confused. Everybody's going to know, oh, Paul is talking about Alexander the coppersmith. It's not Alexander, it's not Alexander Smith, right? It's the coppersmith, okay? So that way it's specific. You know who it's addressed to. So everybody knows. So that's why when you say, okay, there are false teachers, if you just say things in general, you have 10, 20 people, how are they supposed to know who you're referring to? Okay? So right now, if you're talking about Candace Owens, say her name. It's not a crime. If what you're saying is the truth, say it. This is what she said, and you're countering her arguments. Simple and straightforward. And the stuff that Candace Owens said is on tape, on video, her own words. That's all. So I'm glad that she does acknowledge that. So let's watch a little bit more.
Those that very hurtful implication that I don't care as much and that I don't want to know what's true. I've thought really hard, like, how do I respond in a way that is actually edifying, that lifts you up and doesn't just like tear down and get down in the mud. And CR and I have really been talking about this and praying about this and trying to think about like the best approach. And gosh, there's a part of me that does just want to go tit for tat and wants like a detailed fact check and all of that. But I just know that will lead to a never ending back and forth. And honestly, y'all, like, I can't compete with secret sources. Candace has referenced unnamed sources that she has in the government and within Turning Point. And she said that Charlie came to her in a dream. I don't have any of those things. Like, I don't have secret sources. I don't have secret knowledge. None. Charlie has not come to me in a dream. I don't have any special insight at all. Charlie was my friend. He was a very good one. He gave me lots of wisdom and encouragement and prayer over the years. He championed me when he didn't have to, publicly and privately. And you can go back and you can watch my tribute to him and scroll through my Instagram posts for the past couple of months for more on that. If I were to reveal all of the texts to each other that, we have over the years, you wouldn't find anything juicy, no gossip, no hidden clues, no secret signals. So like, I just can't, I won't go there. I don't have all of that. So I'm instead going to do three things. I am going to give us direction from scripture on what godly truth seeking looks like. And I'm going to analyze the weight of our words. And then I just want to share the arrows with a few of my friends. So first, let's talk.
Okay. So beautiful, Allie. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to hear what she has to say. So guys, to be fair, right? Everything that she just said, that's how you counter Candace Owens. Ali should have done this way back then instead of her coming to this situation with, hand-to-hand combat with Candace Owens. You see what I'm saying? How do you counter Candace Owens with the truth? That's it. Because the truth is never going to change. This lady is onto the dreams, all conspiracy, all these other things. You know what I mean? You counter it with the truth. But Ali, let's not forget, this is the same lady you are platforming on your platform. You see? So, yes, but I do appreciate, where she's at right now, okay? All right, so before we go over there, yes, guys, what I'm saying, African sheep, okay, that's actually cool. Yes, no, they were friends with with what's her name, Candace Owens. So she does platform people who are her friends, you know what I mean? They just have different ideologies. They just have differences in the theological stance, so to speak, right? So Lyra Rose, she's Catholic, okay? So she'll come on a platform, they do all these other things. So it's just certain things that can lead to certain things. Not right away, but as they say, a little leavens the whole lump. You know what I mean? It's not like you platform somebody, then voila, the issues come about. No, they don't. But when somebody is so close to you, is your friend, this is the issues that rises up. So I hope you get the pin. Okay. Care about dead, but who are better off than her future heaven. Wow. That's it. I need to make it so big because I can't even see that, guys. Oh. All right. So let's see the scriptures that she's about to say. But Candace, yes, somebody posted something. Candace cannot handle the scriptures. No. Candace cannot handle the scriptures. She doesn't know Bible. Okay. There's nothing that she can do. That's why I'm saying, I don't understand why Ali felt that she's handicapped when it comes to Candace Owens. Okay, this lady doesn't know her scriptures. And by the way, she thinks she's saying something correct. And here's the proof, guys. Look at this. This is Candace Owens. I entered the Catholic Church for a reason. The war we face today is holy, as it has always been since the dawn of humanity. Okay? Whatever. As just one example, a spiritual weapon, which was introduced as an explicit attack against Catholics. Okay? So it's a long whatever. I'm not going to show you. But all to say, she is saying she entered the Catholic Church for a reason. Like what are you saying? We thought that you were enlightened, that you found the truth, that you can no longer be a Protestant. So now you're joined to be a member of the Catholic Church because it's the truth. You know what I mean? But she just said for a reason. And what was the reason? Because, she feels like Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, because just like Candace, no. And the other thing with Candace, she has no principles. She always switches all over the place. You know what I mean? Because she's not grounded in anything. And by the way, she already told us back then that she joined the Catholic Church because when she was on Allie Beth Stuckey platform, Allie had a conversation with Candace Owens' husband, and she realized Allie had no answers to debunk Catholicism. So the light bulb went on Candace Owens, so she went and joined the Catholic Church. And that's there. I already did a video about that, you see? So this is the problem that we do have with a lady like Candace Owens. So here's what I was going to show you. What she talked about, this, the Zionist thing? Okay. Is it? I can't even see, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we are on Allie. Allie is about to show us the scriptures, okay? So here is Candace Owens complaining about the Bible, okay? This is her complaining about the Bible. How can you complain about the scriptures to begin with? So take a look at this, okay? So she now is responding to Allie Beth Stuckey. Okay, watch this.
Thing that just makes no rational sense. So it's, oh, this is just a bad time, and this is a wacko jacko. Everybody's crazy when you start questioning the feds. Suddenly they want to call you crazy. And Tucker just annihilates it instantly. He's like, get out of here. I don't know where you're from. Okay, I assume you're a foreigner and you think this is how things work in America. And we're just going to accept the Fed slop because that's what we should do as polite citizens. No, get out of here. We want to know who killed Charlie Kirk because this story seems pretty dark. It seems pretty deep. And everyone that should be using their platforms to try to get to the bottom of what happened to him and asking similar questions is instead calling out Candace Owens and waiting for her to make a mistake so they can try to delegitimize every effort that she is making to get to the bottom of this thing. It just reeks. It reeks to high heaven. And so I absolutely adore Tucker for that. I adore him for just standing up for me. And obviously he's seasoned, so he sees right through it in the same way that I do. But that is the way forward. That is the way forward when people are trying this on you, trying to manipulate you using Bible verses like Allie did after she just ceded so much, essentially fundamentally called me a liar in her own way about various things, is now pretending she's like an injured bird because I responded and I responded nicely, but suddenly trying to tell you it's not biblical for you to pry into what's happened to the Charlie Kirk assassination case. This is just not biblical. Yeah, it's a complete nonsense. She did a video yesterday. I don't get dreams like Candace. We see what you're doing. It's petty. Now you're being petty Betty. If you want to get involved in this case, do it. If you don't, step aside. You are not required to respond to Candace Owens' content. That's actually not a requirement. You can keep doing your content, telling people that what you do is biblical while you ignore the glaring obvious crimes of Israel, which you refuse to ever denounce your support for. You know what I'm not doing? I'm not killing tens of thousands of children in Palestine and trying to legitimize it to my audience by telling them that somehow this is what God wants because it's right here in the Bible. I don't know. So I'm going to be done addressing her, but I just wanted to say that these are all manipulative tactics, some of them more evil than others, but that's what's happening right now. And we have to just stay focused on solving what happened to Charlie Kirk. And the feds are not helping, maybe because Kash Patel is busy crying over his girlfriend. He really needs to believe that she likes him for him. I don't believe that. I actually don't accept that Alex will.
So that was Candace responding to Allie, the program we are watching right now, right? So Candace knows when it comes to the scriptures, there's nothing that she can do, okay? Because she knows, Allie knows her Bible. There's nothing that she can do. So Allie had that at her disposal. She could have whipped her sword long time ago when Candace was doing all these things. Candace would have known, like, you know what? She cannot go toe-to-toe as far as the scripture is concerned with Allie. That's all. Just go boom with the scripture. Nothing. No wonder she just said, oh, she's just telling me it's biblical, whatever. Just twist everything what Allie Beth Stuckey said, right? And she says, I'm not going to deal with that issue. I'm just going to move on. Because she knows if Allie's going to come after Candace Owens, Allie's just going to stick to the scriptures, which Candace cannot handle. Okay? So Allie silenced herself unnecessarily when she had the sword and the truth on her side. Okay? Because that's how we determine truth. It doesn't matter what Candace Owens says, it's what does the scripture say. So now let's hear Allie going to her sword, okay? So we welcome that. All right, take a look at this.
Talk about like what truth seeking really looks like. What does investigation really look like? Because here's my take. I told you the two perspectives of the supporters and the detractors at the beginning. People who think it's just conspiracy, that it's all malicious, that it's all for clicks and money. And then the people who think that, no, this is real investigation. This is real truth seeking. This is what it means to be a friend. And what I think is that truth seeking and true investigation can be a way to be a good friend, and that the truth does matter, that we should be asking questions, that we should be seeking truth, that we shouldn't just accept narratives from the FBI or the media or anyone, and that we should be critical thinkers. And I believe that there are podcasters and independent journalists. I think that there can be just regular, everyday people without a platform who can be extremely good at research and investigation. And we shouldn't dismiss someone just because they don't work for CNN or they don't work for the government or law enforcement or something like that. And I do think that trying to seek justice and seek truth is a way to be a good friend. But I contend that there is a way to seek truth that is biblical, that is helpful, and that is edifying, and a way that is not any of those things. So we need to look to Scripture to show us an example of what truth seeking really looks like. And so first, let's answer that question. Like, what is investigation? What is truth seeking? And the first thing that came to mind to me is the Bereans. In Acts 17, we read about this group of people, this group of Jewish people called the Bereans. In verse 10 of chapter 17, we read, "The brothers immediately sent Paul and Silas away by night to Berea. And when they arrived, they went to the Jewish synagogue. Now these Jews were more noble than those in Thessalonica. They received the word with all eagerness, examining the scriptures daily to see if these things were so. Many of them therefore believed, with not a few Greek women of high standing as well as men. But when the Jews from Thessalonica learned that the word of God was proclaimed by Paul at Berea also, they came there too, agitating and stirring up the crowd." So that's kind of
Yes, so there you have it, guys. Berean Babes. That's the name of our channel. Comes from these scriptures, okay? So that's what we do, okay? So yes, we got a shout out from Addie. All right, we continue.
Aside that we can maybe analyze more at length later on, but I did think it was interesting. At the beginning of Acts 17, we read that Paul shares the gospel to Jewish people in Thessalonica, and the Jews in Thessalonica, we read, got really angry. And they caused an uproar. And then when those who were willing to seek the truth and actually discern what is true believed in this gospel, those that didn't like the gospel, they got angry about it and they started agitating, and they didn't like that those who were seeking truth found the actual truth in Jesus that set them free. And so we see this kind of juxtaposition in Acts 17 of the true discernment and the wisdom of the Bereans versus this emotionalism and reaction of the Thessalonians, and how the Thessalonians were actually angry at the true discernment and the belief of the Bereans. So that's just interesting. Read Acts 17. But I love that part in verse 11 that the Bereans examined the scriptures daily to see if these things were so. So they didn't just listen to Paul and Silas and said, wow, that sounds good. That's intuitively right. I've got a hunch that that's right. But they examined the word of God to see if what they were saying matched with what the prophets said, matched with what their scriptures said. They wanted to see if these things were true. In our Let Them episode, when I examined Mel Robbins.
So, yes, and amen to what Ali said there, right? So people always wonder, like, okay, so now, but how do we, all the stuff that Candace Owens is saying, right? How can we ascertain what is true, okay? Like, how can we measure what she's saying? So logic still applies, okay? Like, it's not like you don't need chapter and verse. So if Candace Owens, for example, has come out, right? She just said, like, you know what? She does not believe Tyra Robinson is the one who deleted Charlie Kirk, right? Okay, Candace, if it's not, you can just ask this. All right, fine. It was not Tyra Robinson. Can you tell us who it was? She doesn't tell you who it was. You see what I'm saying? So how do you know that it was Tyra Robinson? Can you show us evidence? Because you need to prove to us, because you are the one who's making the assertion. The person making the accusation, the onus is on them to produce the evidence to back it up. So if you're out here telling us it's not Tyra Robinson, then you need to tell us who it is. You cannot just be telling us it's the Jews. Which Jews? Okay? Oh, it's the Egyptian. Which Egyptians? The entire people from Egypt? You see what I'm saying? Oh, it's the people Turning Point USA. How many employees work for TP USA? Which one? You have to be specific, because truth is specific. You cannot just put stuff into the ether and expect people to believe that that's just not how it works, okay? So truth, you need to be able to examine the truth. She said that she had a dream. There is no way for us to examine the dream, okay? So that does not hold any water. You cannot go to court and you're using dreams as your evidence. That's not going to pass. The scripture says as much. You see what I'm saying? So we need tangible evidence that we should be able to verify. If this is just your opinion, then anybody can have at it. But you're coming out here telling us that these are your facts. No, we should be able to check you on that. And you should be fine with it if people are checking you if what you're saying is the truth. Okay? So critical thinking has to apply. Logic has to apply. But do we see any of that from Lady Candace? No, we don't. Okay? So here is an example of Candace Owens, okay? When, like, she's been doing this for a minute, okay? And it looks like everybody knows her tactics. So watch this. I don't know. This was in 2017. I don't know who the lady is over here, but we can just see Candace Owens' history. Like, she just didn't start doing this yesterday, okay? She's been doing this for a minute. All right, here we go, guys.
Lie, and you already said you can't provide evidence, is that Tree of Logic was paid.
I 100% think that she's paid. There's no way. By the way, if I say that I think something is paid, that is at my discretion. I can say I cannot present to you a fact, and you can't present to me not a fact. Okay, so we're both. I'm speculating, and you're saying it's not true. You saying it's not true could be a lie.
Okay, well, I didn't say it wasn't true.
You can't prove it's not true, and I can't prove it's true.
Okay, you are admitting that it's on you.
It's on my opinion.
You made the claim. It's on me.
You're admitting you speculated. So it's
very weird that Richard Spencer jumped into this so early, and that this person made this video, which was a complete lie, saying that. And by the way, you're not talking about any of the lies you told in that video. It's amazing to me. You're so hell bent on the truth and saying I'm a liar, but you're not talking about any of the lies she told.
Candace, first of all.
Do you think I'm coming out the doctor fighting me?
First of all, Candace, no. First of all, Candace, it is completely on you if you make a claim about someone, especially something that someone was paid under the table to make a video about you. It is completely on you to provide evidence for that claim.
I think that's fair. You are admitting you are speculating on this. You don't have evidence of it. Okay, I think that's a fair point. I think she's admitting she's speculating on it. So the burden of proof is on you. It's not on her to prove it the other way. I think that's fair. I think we're basically all agreeing on that.
So far, it's like you called her a crackhead. You've said that she was paid by someone. It's like, these are just lies, and you can say that you're.
But she has told about why these YouTubers are really the gatekeepers of truth. Why aren't they assessing the lies that this woman told? She said I was listening to site in 3 weeks. She says she doesn't think that's true. She spent time, 40 minutes to be precise, talking about all of my untruths, cherry picking every single thing that I've said about the person. But the person, you're defending her. You're up here defending her, so we cannot not talk about it. If all you're going to do is sit here, and defend this person, then we need to talk about the fact that this person has told lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. But you don't care about any of those lies. You're focused on me. Why? Because I'm new.
I'll tell you why.
Because I'm new. Yeah, this is all envy, dude. This is YouTube high school drama, dude.
Candace, it's very easy to say, oh, it's because they're jealous of you. When in reality, it's much less about Tree of Logic and what she did or did not say. I didn't watch the full video. I'm sure she did say things that are incorrect. That doesn't mean some of it wasn't correct. It's much more about the fact that you're willing to tell lies about people in the wake of this happening. The fact that you said she was paid by someone.
I didn't make a video about her trying to take down.
Just let her finish.
No, you just posted to your Patreon supporters that she was paid to make a video about you. That's a lie. It's a lie.
All right, fair enough. Well, we don't know it's a lie, but you are admitting we are admitting that it's speculation. There is no proof of it. Okay,
it wasn't I think. It wasn't I'm speculating.
So why do you feel the need to always point out in videos, on streams, I should say, on a stream, on a phone call, via right now sitting down, your focus has been me. Why aren't you focusing on her?
Because you're sitting across from me,
Game over.
So that's how she operates. So she's been doing this for quite some time, guys. Okay? This just didn't start now. She always makes these assertions and she expects other people to prove it. That's not how truth works. You make the claim, you bring the proof. That's how even it works in the court of law. And this is the thing that I always keep saying. If this is what Candace Owens is saying, right? Charlie Kirk was her BFF. She believes it was not Tara Robinson. Has she filed a police report? All these other people that she has accused, that they have something to do with Charlie Kirk, has she filed a police report to tell the authorities that these people had their hand in a cookie jar, something to do with Charlie Kirk? Where is the police report that Candace Owens has filed? Huh? Where is it? None. So all these accusations that she's putting, nothing. But I like what Melissa did, okay? So this was, I'm like, you know what? Everybody should do this thing. This was nice. Because she was being interviewed by CNN, and Melissa made a parody out of it, and I thought it was excellent done. So take a look at this, guys. It's a short clip.
Hey, Candy. How you doing? Is it okay if I call you that? I mean, do you prefer it with an I or a Y? Just no preference? Okay. Anyway, so we're here to talk about how you became the #1 most listened to podcast in the world.
In the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out.
Oh, we're just gonna jump right into it. Okay. Well, those coming weeks were like a month ago. Still waiting, Candy, but I mean, good angle, great angle. Just throw everybody off. So promise evidence, but never deliver. This builds suspense and engagement.
I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk.
Holy smokes, Candy-O. That's a huge claim. I mean, you have tons of evidence outside of your imagination for this, right? right?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things.
Okay, so these text messages.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
Oh, of course you didn't. That's actually so smart. I mean, flood people with random, unverifiable details, have ambiguous sources, say ambiguous things, and then take no accountability when you're called out for the lives that you ruin. You can deny it when it backfires, or take credit when you're mysteriously right.
The Feds made up the text messages.
And only you know this.
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Where? Who are they? Oh, there are none. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Okay. All right, so it's like you're like the chosen one with these pretend inside sources that somehow risk contaminating an enormous federal case just to keep you in the loop. Grandiose claims, zero verification. I mean, it's Candyland logic. It's brilliant. I mean, I'm going to have the #1 podcast by this time next year.
Who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media?
I mean, of course you're going to present the evidence according to Candy. I mean, if I do believe you, I'm enlightened. If I don't, then I'm part of the conspiracy. Wouldn't this be circular reasoning?
No, it wouldn't be.
I see what you did there. Okay, so this is how someone becomes the #1 most listened to podcast in the world. Paranoia, check. Outrage, check. Emotional manipulation, check. And fear. Oh, because everybody is afraid to speak out against you. I mean, wow, this sounds a lot like what the left did to make people believe lies. Yeah, there's no connection though, none. So you're capitalizing on a man's murder, tormenting his widow in the process with no real evidence outside of your own brain. Oh, and he obviously talks to you in dreams. So, I mean, it makes you double special. Convincing people a clearly guilty man is not guilty and never pausing to actually consider the consequences if you're wrong, like basically advocating for a killer to walk free. Girl, you don't need a podcast. You would make a great cult leader, at least in my opinion.
I'm sure either she's seen that issue, Candace Owens, she just hasn't had time to implicate Melissa for some reason or the other, because I don't think the way Candace operates, I don't know, she's not going to like that. But I don't know why she's like, when people bring this dream issue, Candace seems not to like it, but she actually said it, that we can take that to the bank and we can quote her on that. So I don't know why now all of a sudden she makes it a big issue if people refer to her dreams. Okay, she said we can take that to the bank. Okay, so yeah, we can take that to the bank. Okay, at the real KC 1987, greetings. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Nice. Okay, yes, thank you. At Tim Tom 673, I was asking you, are you watching from France or that was something else? Okay. Rejects art and therefore the evolution towards university. I can't even see. In the 16th century and accompanied emergence of the... Oh, I'm not following unless if I'm missing something, you know? As far as... Are you referring to the art in the church? You know, like the art in the cathedrals and stuff like that? If that's what you're referring to, like Protestant churches are not going to have that, because just like, okay, when you have that, okay, are you worshiping the art that's in the church? So people don't do that because just like, okay, we don't want people to be worshiping idols. But if it's just art for itself, there's nothing wrong with that, because God defines beauty. We do appreciate art. You know what I mean? Like all the artists in the first century, whatever, these are like, they were Christians, so to speak. So there's nothing wrong with art. We do appreciate art, you know. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but if not, then just ignore the part. Yes, so that was, you know, Candace, man. Candace. Okay, so now, Candace is claiming that now she has the evidence, okay? So here is a clip of Candace giving us the evidence, because she was even responding, I guess, you know, to everybody. So she compiled everything together to prove this is the evidence that she has brought out to the public, okay? So, guys, let's take a look at the evidence that Candace Owens is providing, okay? So, we welcome the evidence, but every evidence we should be able to what? To examine it. It should be able to withstand scrutiny. Okay, so here is Candace with the proof, okay? Why? Remember all this, the theme, what's happening? Candace Owens is investigating to find out who deleted Charlie Kirk. Okay? I use the word deleted, this platform. So the question is, is the information she's about to give us, does that implicate the people she's mentioning as to be as them having something to do what happened to Charlie Kirk? Okay, so take a look at this. Here we go, Mrs. Farmer.
And this is by no means definitive, okay? So getting this together briefly, we told us these lies. The amazing, heroic, magnificent Mikey McCoy had blood all over him. That's a lie, told by Pastor Rob McCoy. Charlie was a committed evangelical.
Notice the key word she says. This is by no means definitive. But you're going to forget that's what she said. So if it's not definitive, why are you bringing it out to the public domain? Because you told us it's not definitive. So should we take it, what are we supposed to do with this information? Okay, so here we go, guys.
Evangelical, who only liked Catholic architecture. That's a lie, told and reinforced by Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett. Lie number 3 is that Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet because Charlie ate salad, he had strong bones, it was a modern-day Christian miracle. That's a lie. The offender is Andrew Colvett.
Okay, so the offender over there is Andrew Colvett. Joe, remember, the case is still, they're still investigating. It's going to go to court. They're going to adjudicate this, okay? So, yes, they're going to have to, the cause of death, the autopsy, and the bullet, and all those things. So, Candace is telling us that's a lie. How do we know? How can I examine the information that she's giving me? Because I don't have access to the medical records. I don't have access to the autopsy. So if she has the autopsy, why can't she put it out to say, according to the autopsy report, this is the bullet? You see what I'm saying? But she just said, you know what? That is a lie. So for now, if that is a lie, she needs to prove it that it is a lie. As it stands, there's no way for us to know. Okay? So she could be telling the truth, but how can we examine the truth? We need the report over here, the autopsy. You know what I mean? Detailed here. Okay, this is the caliber of the bullet. This is what happened, right? But as it is, Okay, so let's continue.
Another lie. Charlie never blinked in his support for Israel. Offender Josh Hammer, Bibi Netanyahu, insert Zionist here, many Zionist, Christian Zionist influencers as well. That turned out to be a big lie, an unnecessary lie. Lie number 5.
I don't know why that would be a lie, because up until the time Charlie Kirk died, he was a supporter of Israel, okay? And that's just a fact. If Charlie Kirk was wavering in terms of his support for Israel, he never lived to fulfill that. Because everything he was still getting money from Jewish donors, okay? He wrote that letter to Bibi, telling him what they were doing wrong and how he could be of assistance. He had that infamous retreat at the Hamptons, where, he solicited intelligence from Israelis. And even the day before he died, Josh Hammer was on that call, Zoom call. Frank Turek was on that call. A rabbi was on that call. And he was asking them, how can he better defend the Israel position when he goes to these campuses? Okay? So Josh Hammer said the same thing. Frank Turek said the same thing. And by the way, Rob McCoy, the pastor, was there as well, right? So 3 people were on that Zoom call the day before Charlie Kirk died, okay? And they said, no, they were discussing how to respond to questions on the campus. Guess who was not on that Zoom call? Candace Owens. She was not on that Zoom call. So the day before Charlie Kirk died, he was asking for information how to defend Israel. But Candace Owens is telling us that, no, Charlie Kirk had stopped whatever. You see what I'm saying? So she does not have that evidence. The evidence is contrary to what's there. If he had lived and walked away from Israel, no problem. But there's no way for us to verify that he actually did walk away from Israel. You know what I mean? Everything that was publicly available, it's him, Zionist, so to speak. So let's continue, okay? So the information is there. We have 3 witnesses, Rob McCoy, Josh Hammer, Frank Turek. And where is Candace Owens' evidence?
Magnificent Mikey McCoy called his dad first. That's a lie. Rob McCoy told that lie. Number 6 is Carol, the AV guy.
Mike McCoy did call Erica Kirk, did call his father, did call his wife. Okay? So what is a lie? He did call these people. Erica confirmed that Mikey called her. So we have a witness Erica Kirk confirming on Fox News that Mikey broke the news to her. We have Rob McCoy, who is the father to Mike McCoy, publicly at the church saying that he did receive a phone call from his son, and his son asking him to ask other pastors to pray for him. So that's 2 witnesses there. Where are Candace Owens' witnesses in all this? Okay? So I was just like, man, this is just simple things. Anybody can just debunk this, Candace, okay? Bring us something.
Was told to remove the cameras by police. That's not true. I have every second of his moves. That offender would be Tyler Boyer, okay? He lied. Number 7.
By the way, Candace Owens was not there at the UVU, okay, when all this happened. So are you telling me that Candace Owens has the minute by minute what happened at UVU from the time these people arrived on the campus and the time they left? She knows who went to the bathroom at what hour, who ate what and whatever. Should we believe that's what she has? So what she has is what she has been given. Are you telling me she has the entire catalog of videos? Because these police officers could not find Tyra Robinson because they were going through a whole bunch of footage, okay? So somebody else had to bring, the son was tended, which kind of lied to the audience, okay? So it's just like, wait a minute. This lady, let's just hear what she has to say.
7, Terrell moved the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Question mark, Andrew Colvett, what if you were scared about people stealing? Maybe remove the cameras? The very expensive cameras would be the thing that they would steal. What are they going to do with your SD card? They're going to resell that? Like, that doesn't make sense. Those are pretty cheap, right?
People were stealing the hats. It's on video, like people did steal hats. Usually, excuse me, if somebody was to take the camera, I think like they would just take the camera with the SD card in there. You know what I mean? Because I don't think you'd be thinking, let me remove the SD card. The reason why she's bringing the SD card is because she wants access to that SD card. So the guy who took this footage refused to give it to Candace Owens. And the next minute, he was on the chopping board. He was also accused by Candace Owens because the guy refused to give her the SD card. And he said he gave it to the authorities. So his name makes up here.
Lie number 8, Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had any bad blood between them. The offender there was Alex Clark. Ben Shapiro was on her show, and I don't know why she tried that little bit of propaganda when she knew that wasn't factually true. 9, Charlie.
So as far as the Ben Shapiro, okay, there are text messages that Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens exchanged in 2018, okay? Talking Charlie, not a fan of Ben Shapiro, okay? Those text messages are actually true. So the question to ask is, those text messages were in 2018, okay? So if you're telling us that Charlie Kirk was not buddy with Ben Shapiro in 2018, we cannot dispute that because the text messages are there, right? But come in 2025, Ben Shapiro gave, $1 million after Charlie Kirk died, okay? Erica received that money. So if this guy was not buddy with your friends, to my knowledge, Erica Kirk has not returned the $1 million that Ben Shapiro cut a check to them. Not only that, Ben Shapiro appeared on the Charlie Kirk show, okay? And Erica Kirk, she is the CEO of Turning Point USA. So Erica Kirk is okay having Ben Shapiro as a monster to come in and sit in the studio of her husband, this Ben Shapiro. Candace Owens has not done a show on Charlie Kirk's show. Candace Owens was nowhere to be found at the memorial. Ben Shapiro was there. Candace Owens, the pictures, nothing. All she has is stuff in 2018. Ben Shapiro has 2025. And he was scheduled to, I think, speak with Charlie Kirk a week after. You see what I'm saying? I think like a day before Charlie Kirk died, Ben Shapiro was on Charlie Kirk's show. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, okay, so if Charlie did not appreciate the friendship with Ben Shapiro, then Charlie Kirk was two-faced. Because he's out here smiling with Ben Shapiro, but behind the scenes, he's backstabbing Ben Shapiro. Those are the only two things. Either that was in 2018, in 2025, he was cool with Ben Shapiro. Okay, because there are a whole bunch of text messages of Ben Shapiro also praising Ben Shapiro publicly. And Candace Owens never debunked that when Charlie Kirk was alive. Okay? So it's just like this lady, man. I was just like, man, what's the husband? What's George Farmer, where are you? Okay? So all the stuff that Candace Owens has disparaged Ben Shapiro over here. Okay? So this is the picture here. So this is Candace Owens with Ben Shapiro. And I quote, when you bump into Ben Shapiro on your way to see Charlie Kirk at the White House, you are reminded that the future of America is bright. Okay? So this is Candace Owens. So the question to ask, what changed, Candace Owens? You see what I'm saying? This was in 2018. So in 2018, out here, Candace, Ben Shapiro. But you and I, we can agree today, this is no longer Candace Owens' position in 2025. You see what I'm saying? So, in the same way that Charlie was not into Ben Shapiro in 2018, could it be that he also changed in 2025, that all of a sudden he esteemed Ben Shapiro in high regard? Because Candace Owens was speaking glowingly of Ben Shapiro in 2018. Candace is not speaking glowingly of Ben Shapiro in 2025. So can the same thing apply to Charlie Kirk? Or no, this only applies to Candace Owens. You see where this thing is going? And by the way, even at this White House, Candace Owens tweeted out that Ben was jealous that she was at the White House. And yet the picture is here. Ben Shapiro was also at that White House.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. All lies will be exposed.
All lies will be exposed. All. And by the way, after Candace Owens said all these other things disparaging Ben Shapiro in 2018 and everything, do you know what she did? She still went and worked for Ben Shapiro. So if this guy was so evil, why did you go work for him? If this guy was so evil, why did you get a paycheck from him? Okay? You left, you to go work for Ben Shapiro, the guy who happens to be a monster. So that shows you that she is not an honest broker of information. She's out here advancing her agenda. And even if all those things were true, risk grant, what does that got to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk? Does that prove that all these other things, like, okay, Ben Shapiro killed Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was not fond of Charlie Kirk? You see what I'm saying? So does that even prove what she's trying to find out? No, it doesn't. So, yeah. Not definitive by the labels, it is verified, yes. What I say, African sheep, I can guarantee she hasn't got access to it. No, she doesn't have. Yeah. So, you know what, at the real KC, Candace said, somebody asked one of her friends, we feel like you're just giving us this information drip, drip, drip. Why can't you give us all the information at once? And this is what Candace Owens said. I have the information, but it will not be smart for me to give you all guys information at once. So I have to give you guys information piece by piece because I'm trying to find the rats in the sheep. You see? So to me, you have information of what happened to your best friend, Charlie Kirk. You don't want to put that information out, but you're sitting on it. So do you actually have the information? So that's how she plays her audience. Yeah? And if you believe Tara Robinson is not the one who did it, this young boy is facing a death penalty. Do you want an innocent person to die, death penalty, while you, Candace Owens, have information? Would you appreciate that if that was your son sitting on a death row and somebody is sitting on information that can vindicate your son? You see? And she claims to be a Christian. She claims to be a Catholic. So this lady, yes, disparaging comment. Yeah, so it's she's a liar. She's a liar. Okay. All right, so let's finish up with her list over here, okay? So far we've debunked every one of this. You know what I mean? I mean, to me, for once, I wish I was a lawyer, okay? And I would want to have Candace Owens as a witness. Oh, man. You can cross-examine this lady, you know what I mean? Like she will squirm on that seat. She will squirm.
Established Doge, and that wasn't unusual. Turning Point financially audits the company every year since its inception. Lie. Doge was entirely different from the apparatus of financially auditing yourself, which is recommended and actually in some states required for a company that size, that's 501c3. And 10, like I said, this is by no means a definitive list. Mikey McCoy was a hero that day. Now, you could say that's subjective, But I feel like that, like objectively, to be a hero, you can't just make quick phone calls. I don't know. I and not include 911 in that list. So I'm going to put that on our list of lies. Now we're going to learn some more.
Okay, for some reason, Candace has something against this Mike McCoy boy. Okay, so if people are calling him, he was a hero on that day. I wasn't there. Candace Owens wasn't there. Who is she? You know what I'm saying? If that's the people's opinion, there's nothing you can do about it. You don't have to like it, so leave it alone. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to call Mike McCoy as a hero. You don't have to, but do you think she cares about these things, guys? Okay. No, she doesn't. Okay? So, all right, fine. So let's get back to Allie Beth Stuckey over here. Welcome. I am so glad that you guys are here. Please do me a favor. Hit the likes up, okay? Put the thumbs up in there. It does help, okay? Because the Candace come after your girl, okay? But let's continue. Here we go, guys.
Is let them theory, if there's something good and biblical to redeem from it and what we should toss out as Christians. And we talked about the word discern. Discern is used a lot, and I love etymology. So what does it actually mean? Christians have a responsibility to discern, and we get this word discern from the Latin word discernere, which I don't have my Latin accent up to date, so hopefully you understand me. And that means to separate or to sift apart. So discern is to separate or to sift. To sift comes from Old English, and it is when something passes through a sieve or a fine mesh sleeve, a strainer to keep what you want to keep and let go of what you want to let go of. So for the Christian, the strainer for every idea, concept, and philosophy is the word of God. That's what we see with the Bereans. That's what it should still be true for us today. The only inerrant, infallible, and God-breathed written authority that we have. That is our sifting mechanism. So to discern, as we are called to do, means we're not just about seeing two options and choosing the right one over the wrong one. It's also about carefully separating the good from the bad and the good from the best. About distinguishing between worldly right and biblical right, worldly wisdom and godly wisdom. What do we read? That wisdom starts with the fear of the Lord. Now there are people, even other Christians, who will mock you for asking questions, not just asking questions of the government or of the media or of law enforcement, but asking questions of influencers, asking questions of even the question askers. They'll wag your fingers at you for questioning whatever it is that they are positing. But Christians are called to sift. We are called to discern. We are called to weigh what is being said, both how it's being said and the content of what is being said, against objective truth, against logical truth, and most importantly, against biblical truth. And while we do have to be careful never to veer into becoming self-righteous, we should never be shamed out of being discerning. Ephesians 5:6-10 says this: "Let no one deceive you with empty words, for because of these things the wrath of God comes upon the sons of disobedience. Therefore do not become partners with them. For at one time you were darkness, Christians, but now you are light in the Lord. So walk as children of light, for the fruit of light is found in all that is good and right and true, and try to discern what is pleasing to the Lord." Remember a couple things about how Satan works, and this just reminds of the importance of discernment. Satan isn't always out there saying what is obviously 100% wrong and bad. It doesn't always look like darkness. It's not always fully a lie. He starts with parts of the truth, and then he twists it. And actually, in 2 Corinthians 11:14, we see that Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. He uses half-truths to relay a whole lie. He did this in the garden. Did God really say? In the wilderness with Jesus, he didn't just come up and lie to Jesus. He actually used God's word to try to manipulate Jesus. And so discerning is not just about asking questions. It's not just about saying what is right and what is wrong, or what could be true or what could be false, but it is about weighing everything that we hear from me or anyone else against what is objectively and biblically true. All right, we've got more on this in a second. Let me tell you about our next sponsor, and that's Good Rancher.
Yeah, so that is so, yes, Ali, I agree with that because it does match the scriptures, okay? As I say, like discernment is, finding out what is true and what is almost true. You see what I mean? Like that thin line and everything. Yes, the devil is a deceiver. He's a master manipulate. This guy came in a perfect garden with Adam and Eve. What did he say? Has God really said? You know what I mean? Just cause Eve to doubt. Are you sure that's what God said? That you cannot have this fruit? Why not? Look at me. I'm having the fruit. You can have it too, So yes, those are the things that do happen. No wonder, obviously, Candace knows, like, this is way up, there's nothing she can do about this issue for sure. Okay. So that wouldn't work. So so now Candace likes people to praise her. Okay. So anybody who is praising her, you are in her good graces. Okay. So she can take all the praises that she can get right now. That's what, that's what she's that's what she's running from. Okay. So this is what's making Candace to be the real, the real Candace. I don't know if that makes sense. So she was happy when Tucker Carlson defended her. Okay. So this is I just like, Tucker Carlson, these people, they are just conservatives. Okay. They claim to be Catholics. Just like, man, no, this is not what even Catholics, that's not how they conduct themselves, okay? So let's take a listen to the defense of Tucker Carlson on Candace Owens, okay? And Candace loves this. Take a look at this.
Good friend Candace Owens has been putting out some pretty wacko stuff, I would say, would be my opinion, on the death of Charlie. It's not helpful, is it, that, at that time of an incredible national upheaval, and obviously personal and familial family tragedy, to have someone like that picking apart the argument and suggesting that there are darker forces at play here that the US government have a hand in covering up. Can you see why people get upset by that and would like you perhaps to sort of distance yourself from that sort of thing?
Pretty funny. So am I going to attack Candace Owens because you
I'm not asking you to attack her.
I'm not going to do that, Harry.
You see, that's how you know these people are not honest. Tucker is playing the same game that Meghan Kelly has been playing. They're playing dumb. He wasn't asked to attack Candace Owens. I don't understand. Like, guys, can you just hear what's being said? Okay? The question is, are you going to distance yourself from the things that Candace Owens is saying, accusing everybody, including the government? Yes or no? That's it. So he laughed, okay? And then say, I'm not going to attack Candace Owens. Nobody's asking you to attack Candace Owens, okay? Can you comment on what Candace Owens is saying? If you agree with her, fine. If you don't, then say it. So this is how these people operate. They do like what Candace Owens is doing. They do agree with Candace Owens is doing. But they know that it's way too cuckoo out there for them to say that. So they're just going to play dumb. But behind it all, they're loving it. Meghan Kelly and Tucker Carlson, they love what Candace Owens is doing. If that was somebody else doing it, trust and believe they would have already said something about it. The reason why they haven't said anything about it is because they support it. They absolutely support it. So let's see some more.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt as a foreigner of not understanding our politics, but the whole ritual of, this person said something I don't like. In order to be a good person, you must denounce this person. Obviously, I would die.
It's nothing to do with American policy. Candace Owens, our podcast is the #1 worldwide. Anybody can listen and weigh in. That's it. So I was just like, man, Tucker, stop it.
Before I played along with that, I don't know anyone who's saying that who was the moral authority to compel me. I don't know anyone saying that it was any moral authority at all. And I would say broadly, not about Candace, whom I love, but about all people. Getting to the truth is the most important thing. I've devoted my life to it. I haven't always done a very good job at all, but it still remains to this day my animating motive. I want to know what the truth is. Again, I don't always get there. I usually don't get there, but I want to be the guy who cares what's true. A. B, if you're telling me that because the U.S. government or some law enforcement agency issues a statement that doesn't even make sense, that I'm required somehow morally to accept that and not ask any questions like, can you hear yourself? I mean, what are you saying?
It's just perfect.
Okay, so, yeah, no, I don't trust Tucker. I've never trusted him. You can tell when somebody is up to no good. Tucker, nah. Ever since I've known about him, there was just something about him, just like, no. So the issue is the text messages, right? As far as the FBI director, right? There's criticism there. He was tweeting out that, we got the guy after Charlie Kirk died. It was the wrong person. The second person was the wrong person. That was a wrong thing to do as a director. The director showing up at the press conference when have you seen a director at a press conference of anything? You see what I'm saying? It was not appropriate. So there are absolutely legitimate things that you can actually say that I'll be in agreement with, for sure, you know. But the idea of like, okay, he was in a quest for truth. This Tucker Carlson, right? He's in a quest of truth. How come he didn't apply that logic in a quest of truth when he was sitting across from Nick Fuentes? He was able to quiz Ted Cruz, rightfully so. But for some reason, Tucker was like, oh, no, I can't do this with Nick Fuentes. After Nick Fuentes said, I love Stalin. And yet Tucker is on record saying Stalin was the worst, guy back then, yeah? So it just shows like these people, no. And this is the Tucker Carlson, okay? Listen to what he said. It's a short clip, but pay attention to what he says about Jesus' birth, okay? Here we go, guys. Here we go.
Articulated the belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that in the Greek myths. Jesus, most famously. But that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, fog, that they're physical. Like, they're as real as the arm of your chair.
Did he just say, like Jesus? Was he insinuating that, that Jesus?
So, in fact,
But first, I'm actually not going to do this with the Tucker.
That supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that in the Greek myths. Jesus, most famously. That they've always been here. And I do think it's spiritual.
Can you articulate it?
The belief that supernatural beings take physical form. They all believe that in the Greek myths. Jesus, most famously. But that they take physical form, that they're not just like some ethereal, they're not just shadows floating around, specters, fog, that they're physical. Like, they're as real as the arm of your chair.
Did he just say, like Jesus? Was he insinuating that Jesus? Oh my God.
That they reproduce with people. Again, Christianity believes that. Jesus, immaculate conception, spirit reproduces with human woman. That's what the story is. Yeah, no, I was on February.
Did you hear that? Just like Jesus, right? Spirit reproduces with a human form equals Jesus. That's just like, wait a minute. The Catholics, they are very good when it comes to the triune nature of God. They'll give it to you, right? And this guy is the Catholics. That's not what happened, okay? Like, the Holy Spirit overshadowed Mary, and then Mary was pregnant, had a child. But that does not mean the third member of the Trinity. I don't even want to say it because that's blasphemous, okay? Like, that's not what happened, Tucker Carlson, okay? Adam, God created Adam from the dust, okay? And created Eve from the side of Adam. So Eve, no parents, no mommy and dad. Adam, no mommy and dad, but God was their father. So, yeah, God is able to create a human being without the man's seed. So, and this is how Jesus was born, right? Jesus was born, Mary is the one who was pregnant. So there was no male seed. You guys get the point, right? Because I don't want to get somewhere where I'm going to sound heretical over here or say something that's blasphemous. But all to say is that's, the Jesus birth was miraculous, right? They actually says, the shadow of the Most High will overshadow you. You are going to be with a child. But according to Tucker Carlson, it's like the spirit, meeting with the human and then Jesus. No. And this is the Tucker Carlson. That Candace Owens is believing, obviously, what's her name? Candace wouldn't know anything about that. But I thought that was kind of like, ooh, that's some heretical stuff coming out of Tucker Carlson out there. Yes. Oh, yeah. So the next person who has also weighed in was accused by Candace Owens is none other than Frank Turek. Frank Turek was there at that event, and he was there, helped lifted Charlie Kirk after the incident to take him to the hospital. So he's also been there, and now he has a military background. He was in the Navy. His two sons are in the Air Force. Forget about it, okay? So they have also been implicated. So he was asked about that on CBN. So this is what Frank Turek had to say. Here we go, guys.
Spread
conspiracy theories and idea, like what you were saying, but other things. I'm not even going to get into the specifics of it. What has that been like for you to watch and experience?
Well, you're probably talking about Candace Owens. And, I have not followed Candace Owens closely. I know she was a good friend of Charlie years ago. In fact, when I first met Charlie, I said, tell me a little bit about your ministry, like your what you do, and who have you mentored? He mentioned Candace Owens, and Charlie would never speak ill of anybody privately unless he spoke to that person first and tried to correct them. So Charlie never said anything bad about Candace or anything. But I just find this idea that she's making all these suggestions without evidence very painful for people. It's okay to suggest, well, maybe this, maybe that, but as soon as you start launching accusations, TPUSA betrayed, betrayed Charlie. I had a dream that Charlie told me this. That's not evidence. I mean, maybe she's right. It could be. Anything's possible, but not everything has evidence behind them. And what people don't seem to understand, and this is why I had my friend Detective J. Warner Wallace on my podcast 2 weeks after Charlie's martyrdom. People don't understand how prosecution works, how murder cases work. The prosecution rarely tells you anything they have, much less everything they have. As Detective Wallace pointed out, the prosecution's job is to get a conviction at trial. The prosecution's job is not to quell every internet rumor. They can't do that. They'd be jeopardizing their case, and they'd be jeopardizing a jury if they jumped in on every possible rumor that was going around. They base their prosecution on evidence. And the conspiracy theory about me, okay, they looked at it because they asked me a question. The FBI called me up and asked me the questions. I said, it's nonsense. That was it. And the reason they have to do that in a trial is because a defense attorney is going to say, well, did you check into this? And did you check into that? And so then the prosecution can say, yeah, we checked into it. It went nowhere. That's not what happened. Now, it's fine for Candace to say, well, look at this and look at that. And this could be true and that could be true. But as soon as you cross the line and start saying so-and-so's guilty or suggesting strongly so-and-so's guilty, when you don't have the evidence, that's causing dissension among the brothers. And that's something the Lord hates. There's people who have enough pain in their lives. You don't need to add pain when people are going through this. And apparently she said that I was the only one who was genuine in his, look, I haven't watched everything. I've just been told about it. Who has the time to watch everything? Nobody does.
Right, exactly.
But she said I was the only genuine, mine was the only genuine reaction. Billy, you know this. Reasonable people know this. That a psychologist, even with somebody on the couch in front of them, can't completely diagnose people accurately all the time. You don't diagnose people from video, very fragmentary video, and tell them or make a judgment and say, oh, this person didn't act normally. There is no normal behavior
in a situation like that. In a situation like that, of course. I mean, absolutely. There's no.
There is no normal behavior.
No, there is none. But we all know Candace does not care about that. And yes, the FBI did interrogate Frank Turek. And do you think Candace is going to be like, oh, guys, we did suspect Frank Turek, but Frank Turek was, the FBI investigated him, so now he's been cleared. You think Candace is going to say that? No, she will not say that. So thank you. So Taka is Anglican Episcopalian. So he should even know that, the doctrine of the triune nature of God. Okay, so these people want to talk about theological things, but they don't know anything. So Taka is Anglican. Okay, I think he's Episcopalian. I might have heard that. Okay, I just assumed that he was Catholic. But African Sheep, thank you for that. Yes, Sifted, they converted to Catholicism. Like, yeah, if, Candace, man, she's... she's Catholic now because she converted Catholic. Like, okay, so you are just a Catholic because of your marriage, because of your husband. She's not a Catholic by conviction. Okay, it was just okay. I can go here, do that. So she can easily be swayed to and from if something else was to rise up. Because when you are not, if your conversion is nothing to do with the heart, the transformation of the heart. Those are the things that are going to happen. It's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. Okay, so why did I All right, fine. Let's okay. Let's hear what Allie had to say over here, because she actually did a very good job. Okay, she did a good job. All right, let's get to Allie. Okay, here we go, guys. Where are we? Allie Beth Stuckey. All right, here we go.
To ask. So the first one is there a way to think about this critically? Can we weigh what is being said by anyone against the truth? And then a question that we have to ask as we are thinking about what is true, as we are trying to be thoughtful Bereans, is there evidence? Is there evidence? Not a hunch, not a theory, not I don't know, but I know, not that looks fishy, not this doesn't feel right, but is there evidence? It's okay to have a gut feeling and ask questions. We should, but that is not evidence. Here's a pattern I see. Bits of truth pieced together by innuendo. For example, I'm just going to give an example, and I already laid this out in my episode about whether or not Israel was involved. So here are some things that I believe we know are true. It's true that Charlie had a retreat in the Hamptons in August where they debated Israel. It's true that Bill Ackman and Seth Dillon and I believe Josh Hammer were there. It's true that Charlie seemed to be shifting on the Israel-Hamas conflict and that he was certainly bolder in expressing that, and that he seems to have been under pressure by pro-Israel donors. He told Megyn Kelly as much, it seems. What I don't see yet is any evidence proving that these things are connected and that they are somehow connected to Charlie's murder. The next question after, what is the hard evidence for that? Is who is the source? Who is the source that is telling me this? Who is the source that is making this claim? When I took a rhetoric class in college, one of the first things we learned was ethos, logos, pathos, and the importance of the ethos, the credibility that you have with the audience, and what gives this person the authority to know these things. Where do they derive their authority from? Why would they know this particular thing? Is it based on a hunch? Is it based on secret unnamed sources? Is it based on something that has yet to be revealed? Well, that is a good reason for people to hesitate before jumping on any narrative that anyone puts.
To be fair, Candace Owens has told us it's her gut feeling. We don't know, but we know. The vibes are not vibing, okay? Something just doesn't sit right with her. So Candace has said this. It's her gut feeling. We don't know, but we know. It's the vibes are not right. And, Mike McCoy, is not moving right. So Candace has said this. So all this is and then the dreams, okay? Charlie appeared to her in the dream, told her that he was betrayed by everyone. So we do have these things as far as Candace Owens is concerned, okay? So guess what? None of these things. You cannot determine evidence by gut feeling, by dreams. We don't know, but we know the vibes. Something is not sitting right. You wouldn't even dare to utter those things in court if you want to get a conviction. All right.
What's forth? Next question that we have to ask when someone presents a case or presents a theory or an argument. What is the other potential side of this argument? This person is making this claim. Well, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Let me think about that a little bit differently. I really encourage you to do that with my episodes. If I'm making a claim, I do this all the time. People ask, how did you train for the Jubilee debate? Girl, I've been training for that my entire life. That's just how I think. I just think, whether it's someone who agrees with me or not, I'm always playing devil's advocate. I'm always thinking about how I can hone my arguments better by thinking about what would someone say to this. And so I encourage you to do that with me. But you got to do that with everyone, especially when they are making really important and impactful claims. What could be the other side of this argument? Okay,
yeah, that's actually a very good exercise to incorporate. Okay, it will actually help you with critical thinking. The scripture says as much, he who states his case seems right until another comes examine him, right? So things just have to be examined, That's why in a court of law, there's that word, it's called cross-examination. So the witnesses, they have to be cross-examined. So every truth claim should be backed up. It's just simple, basic things. You use your logic. You can just ask, okay, you are saying all these things, but Candace, you were not there. The people who were there, this is what they're saying. So what are the odds that all these people have concocted a lie, but you, the only one who has the truth? Candace is the only one who has a corner market, okay? You actually forget Erica Kirk was actually the wife to Charlie Kirk. And this is what I keep saying. Which married woman is going to go to town the way Candace Owens has done about someone else's husband? You tell me. You tell me. That's why we are out here. George Farmer, where are you?
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Exactly. All right.
Along those lines, the next question, what are the other possible conclusions that one could draw? So this person is drawing this conclusion about this. Are there any other conclusions that could be drawn from this video footage, this timeline, this fact that happens to be true? Again, a lot of things can be true. But the conjecture comes in trying to connect all of these things. So we have to ask, well, is there another way that these could be connected? Is there a non-nefarious reason for this thing that is being claimed or presented? The next question, and this is a really serious one. Is someone being falsely accused? Is someone being falsely accused here?
Candace Owens has not only accused one person, TPUSA, Turning Point executive, everyone, just to put it short, because she said that. Everyone. Charlie Kirk was betrayed by everyone. So you guys, everyone means everyone.
Investigation and truth-seeking are really important. But there is a difference between investigation and truth-seeking versus salacious, innuendo-driven drip campaign. See, I know that it's really hard today because we just don't have a lot of true journalism. The bastions of journalism just they're just not trustworthy. They start with a conclusion and they try to fill in facts to support their ideologically driven conclusion today. Most mainstream media outlets do that. And so we don't have a lot of good examples within the mainstream of what investigation looks like. But from my understanding, traditional investigation, whether it's done by law enforcement or whether it's done by a true journalist back when those existed, you do the investigation and then you present the evidence. It's not conjecture, a new conjecture and a new theory and a new fact every week as people are burdened with the responsibility to put these pieces together in real time because mistakes may possibly be made. And when we're talking about a murder plot, we just need to be really, really careful that everything that we are saying, as far as it depends on us, can be 100% proven in the moment, not later, not secretly, but in the moment. So there's a difference in investigation and innuendo. There's a difference in truth-seeking and creating content. Okay, next thing. Words matter. So the first one, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? And everything that the Bible has to say about that. And the second one, along the lines of this question of, is someone being falsely accused? The second thing we have to think about in all of this is that our words matter. And let me just say right now, I am talking to myself as much as I am talking to or about anyone else. I want to take this so seriously as a professional talker. When you have a podcast, you say something and you might make a mistake because we're fallible people, or we might say something that we don't mean because we're sinners, but then you can correct it, on the next show. And it's easy to give ourselves a lot of grace. And I'm not saying we shouldn't get any grace, but the fact that you can always correct what you say, again, speaking to myself, does not mean that we shouldn't take care of every single word that comes out of our mouths. And this is a huge, huge hefty responsibility for those of us who talk so much to make sure that what we are saying is glorifying to the Lord. Matthew 12:36. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. That's Jesus. Let me just repeat that. And I want to put this on my own mirror. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. My goodness, may I always remember that. Words are really important in Christianity. It is a word-based faith. It is not like Buddhism that.
Amen. What Al is saying, they're absolutely true. Amen, amen, amen. We can absolutely learn something from there. So yeah, the other, even what she said there, you can make a mistake and come back and correct the record. You cannot tell me all this time that Candace has been doing this. She hasn't done any episode where she corrected anything. Okay? The Hamptons, the guy, what's his name? I forgot his name. The millionaire put out the tweets and information. It was there. You think Candace corrected the record? No. He accused BB of not putting out all the information that was in the letter. They made the letter public. It's 7-page letter. You think she came back and corrected the record? No. You see what I'm saying? So all the stuff that, the flight, she was like, oh, we find out this was whatever betrayed about Charlie. The guy put out the flight. No, you were wrong. This was talking about Utah time. The flight left at 7 a.m. Charlie Kirk's situation happened in the afternoon. You think she corrected the record? No. She just carried on as if nothing happened. So that was a very good point that Ari brought up.
that puts, silence on the same level as holiness. This is actually something that I remember Charlie talking about a lot. This is an evangelistic faith, that we are to go preach the gospel, make disciples of all nations, that Jesus came and he spoke the truth. And not only that, but he is called the Word, the Logos in John 1. Words are really important to Christianity. They're really important to God. We read over and over again, whether it's in these passages or the book of James, how much our tongue can do in creating real life impact and how much our words matter. I would never want it on my conscience to stir up suspicion because of my words where maybe there should be no suspicion. I would not want it on my conscience to point fingers where they don't need to be pointed. It's very serious. And please, Lord, give me the humility, give me the discernment, give me the self-control, and give me the strength to ensure that my tongue is bridled and that I am only speaking that which edifies, what is good and right and true. I don't want to be a part of someone carrying the burden of responsibility that they should not be carrying. I think about in the Old Testament, what's incredible about the Old Testament law is the rights that were given not only to the accuser, the one who is actually, making the claim against a person, but also the accused. That witnesses were required, that due process was required, that there were certain definitions of justice, that you couldn't just say that someone was guilty of something, because God actually cared about the truth and about impartiality, and that something was spoken in a way that was entirely factual. God really cares about that when it comes to justice. It's not justice at whatever cost. There is a process of justice that always has to be rooted in care and in truth. And we see that God's character throughout Scripture is that he really cares about how justice comes about. 1 Corinthians 5:11, but now I am writing to you not to associate with anyone who bears the name of brother if he is guilty of sexual immorality or greed, or is an idolater, reviler, drunkard, or swindler, not even to eat with such a one. And we talked about last week when we were talking about something else entirely, about this word revile. And I hadn't realized, and again, this is something I want to take seriously, how important this is to the Lord. I mean, so many passages in the New Testament talk about reviling, trying to assassinate someone's character, especially based on something that is not true, and how abominable it is to the Lord. Ephesians 4:29, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Luke 6:45, out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks. God really weighs our words. He really cares about the things we say. Exodus 23:1, you shall not spread a false report. You shall not join hands with a wicked man to be a malicious witness. Deuteronomy 19:15, a single witness shall not suffice against a person for any crime or for any wrong in connection with any offense that he has committed. Proverbs 20:19, whoever goes about slandering reveals secrets. Therefore, do not associate with a simple babbler. Our words really matter. What we say matters. That is true for all of us. What we listen to matters. What we share matters. What we believe in our minds matters. And so it's not, I know that she thinks that because I care about these people who are being wrapped up in this or swept up in this and implicated, that I don't care about Charlie. That's not true. I care so much. And you know who cares more than all of us? His wife, his family, those close to him. And I don't believe that anyone close to him is uninterested in what is true. But yes, I do. I do feel for those who have been caught in the crosshairs without evidence. I do. So we'll get into that in a second. Let me tell you about our next sponsor, and that is...
Yeah, man. So, she nailed it. The scriptures and then some. Yeah, not just even the Old Testament, the entire scripture. Justice, that's God's attribute, right? He's a God of justice. So even in the New Testament, they actually say you cannot bring a charge against anyone unless you have 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay? These are independent witnesses. That's why even today, our judicial system, whenever you go to court, you need to provide evidence. You cannot just say this is what happened. Where is the evidence? You see what I'm saying? Oh, this is the person who killed. That's why this young man, innocent until proven guilty. Okay? So that's why the prosecution, they need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was actually Tyrone Robinson who did it. Okay? But we have over here Lady Candy pretending to be doing whatever, the so-called investigation, and everybody and their mama have been implicated. That's not how you do it. God cares about justice so much so, even within the law itself, you would let a guilty person walk rather than punishing an innocent person. How many people have been vindicated after DNA, they were sitting on death row, and yet they didn't do it? Okay? But the law of God is not like that. So that's why if somebody has done something, you want to administer swift justice because you want to make sure there is evidence there. Somebody can get away with it in this time, okay? But nobody will get away with it on the final day of judgment. There will be a day of judgment. There's good people walking, okay? We know what happened to O.J. Simpson, okay? There's people who are walking, roaming the street because they find a way to get in the system, so to speak, right? But you can never escape God's justice, okay? He's a judge, and he's going to judge righteously. So this idea, thinking like, oh, okay, Candace is the one who's going to find who found a child. No, the means that you find to the truth have to be God-honoring. The end doesn't justify the means in a biblical worldview, okay? So even how we do things, how we arrive to the truth, it has to be in a way that's God-honoring. That's why even in a court of law, when you go there and then you ended up finding this evidence, oh, you just went to a place, just grabbed the evidence, oh, did you have a warrant? No, you didn't have a warrant. It's going to be toast. That's not going to be presented in court, even though it's true. But how you obtain the so-called evidence was in a despicable manner. Forget about it, right? Yeah. So but we have Candace over here trying to tell us something else and otherwise. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Oh, look, Leslie, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Good to see you. All right, well, okay. Yes, Leslie, good to see you. 3K, come on, 3, good to see you. Dave Smith, Nifwen, Anna Conspiracy Opportunistic. Oh, man, you gave all the words to them. Oh, the red flag, I see it. They celebrate and figure out better. Oh, man. What are you saying, Michelle Wilson? Even I struggle with the Bible. I don't understand. I go to pastors, not to celebrate. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, ask your pastors. Not everybody knows everything. You know what I mean? We're always learning something. You okay? Journalism, this will be phased out. I mean, I guess there's so much that has happened in our society that we distrust everything, which is very bad. You know what I'm saying? But it's good to seek truth. But the truth has a destination, okay? It's not an infinite number of regrets where we don't arrive to anything, okay? You go, okay, who did this when? When did it happen? We should be able to get to the conclusions. We cannot be living in the cycle whereby, there's no answer. We're just taken in a rope. It's pointless, There's people who don't know, you know what I mean? They're gullible, and then it's like you're taking advantage of that, which is wrong, you know what I mean? Which is wrong. If you don't know, you don't know. Nothing wrong in asking questions. If that's what she was doing, I don't think anybody would mind, but this is not what she's doing, okay? So yes, I saw the McCoys. She's coming hard on them. So, but the thing is, all those, whatever, the PDF file associated with somebody who knew McCoys and all that, the issue is, where are the videos about Candace Owens talking about the Catholic priest who have been caught, PDF filing children? Where's a program about that? She's a Catholic. Not only that, she's friends with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate cannot travel to go to England. Okay? He will be arrested on arrival. He's out there in Romania, still under house arrest. And how many accusations have circled around Andrew Tate, allegedly, all these women? Where is the video about that Candace Owens? Okay? She actually has a picture of Andrew Tate in her house because she's cool with Andrew Tate. So you are out here outraged about all these so-called PDF files and everything, but all these other people, the Catholic priest over there, the Andrew Tate allegedly situation. So just like, no, now all of a sudden we should take you seriously because now you're bringing these issues, whatever associated with the Calvary Chapel, this, that, and the third. No, Candace, sorry, you are not a good carrier of that type of information, stuff just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. All right, guys, we covered a lot of ground, but this is classic, okay? This one, I'm loving this clip, man. I can watch it all day and every day. This one, okay? Let's end with the banger out here, okay? Take a look at this. This is Lady Candace. When she was pressed, she had no teleprompter. She had no producer. She had to answer straight from her so-called gut feeling, from her vibes. Hey, she made her match, and she's not happy about this. She keeps talking about it, okay? And she never showed this in some of this part to her audience because she knows. All right, so take a look at Candace, okay? When she was cross-examined. Look at her. Here we go, guys.
Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him. What do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law enforcement? I have leaks. Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson has.
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, like if I had a source telling me, like if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world, and we know how stories get shut down. And
that one. She had, the text messages. Oh, no, the Discord. Those were text messages from the indictment. She hasn't read the indictment. I just like,
all lies will be exposed.
Yes.
That's all.
So that one, like, that was, yes, right on time for Lady Candace. I like that one. I did like that one. Just like, finally, you know what I'm saying? Where her program wasn't heavily produced, where she's just in the studio doing her own thing with nobody pushing her back. So there she did not have questions. And then I'm like, okay, so she has sources in both sides, the leaks, but she says she doesn't trust the feds. So she can trust the leaks that are coming to her from the feds. How does that work? She's shown us messages without the dates. According to her, if there are no dates, they are not legit. So which is it, Lady Candy? So she keeps talking about that and say, oh, that day I was so mad. I wasn't happy. I was still grieving, making excuses. I was so pissed off with this lady. Just a whole bunch of excuses about that interview because she knows the interview did not go well with her. So, yeah, she wasn't happy about that. Yes, she was trying to wiggle out of it. Yes, no, that lady pinned her. So she's not happy about that interview at all. So let's see. No, so for some reason, I don't understand why Meghan Kelly decided to carry water for Candace. Okay, it's a short clip. I'll just put it here for you guys.
Including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk. Yes.
It's just, I don't even know how to respond to it because it just never happened. It's so crazy. He's not even anywhere near what's happened. Anybody who's watched this show, but I sense a tremendous insecurity because it is not a good step to lie like that. Okay. And he knew I didn't say it. There's not a chance that he thought that I said Seth Dillon murdered Charlie Kirk. There's more people involved. That's what I'm going to say to you guys. There is very clearly more people involved, okay? This feels to me like a conspiracy. And am I emotionally invested in this? Yes. Somebody said something to, you're unstable. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I have been destabilized by watching Charlie Kirk catch a bullet in his neck and then being gaslit and told nothing to see here. We've got people all around him that are telling little lies. I don't like this because they know I'm telling the truth. Okay. Frantic calls from Seth Dillon. Oh my God. The truth is that Charlie was under immense pressure and he was facing financial threats over his shifting stance on Israel. What happens in the Hamptons is not going to stay in the Hamptons, okay? Bring in our movie poster. I know what you did this summer. I never once accused Seth Dillon of murdering Charlie Kirk.
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in...
You see how that is? Okay. I know what you did last summer. And okay, guys, but you get the gist, right? So she says things, and then when people check her, she finds a way to whatever. No, Seth Dillon, yes. So much so, somebody went to go and delete Seth Dillon. Seth Dillon is the founder, CEO of Babylon Bee. They actually called the police, and that guy was arrested. He was from Texas. So if Seth Dillon was not implicated with these accusations, why was that lunatic going to try to go and delete Seth Dillon? Why did the authorities arrest that particular person if Seth Dillon was not implicated in all this? You see where this is coming from? So yes, she did implicate Seth Dillon. That is actually true. But it's Lady Kant. What else can we expect from her? What else? All right, guys. You guys, I am Town 673. The search of evidence leads to aimless wandering. Yes, we wandering in the wilderness. She was trying to wiggle. Yeah, that did not work at all. That did not work at all. But yes, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Yes. All right, guys. I am so glad that you guys were here. Let us continue this conversation in the comment section. We covered a lot of ground, but I do appreciate your viewership. So stay tuned. More coming this week for sure. And yes, on your way out, be sure to hit the likes up, hit the likes up, hit the likes up. I did a poll, but for some reason, I don't know why I cannot pull it up here. So I put a poll. I said, now that Ali has called out Queen Candy, 1, Ali will be accused next. 2, Candace will ignore Ali. I'm not sure. So Ali will be accused next, 66%. Candace will ignore Ali, 70%. You honestly believe Candace Owens is going to ignore Ali? I'm not sure. Was also 17%. Yeah, so 59 votes we had. Yes, this was interesting. All right, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy yourself. I appreciate that you guys are here. Double check to make sure you're a subscriber. We welcome to all our new subscribers. Thank you for being here. Let's continue in the conversations in the comment section. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Until next time, remember to be in the know. Thank you.